The text message lit up my phone at exactly 9:47 a.m., right in the middle of my quarterly budget review call. I remember the time precisely because that's when my husband of 10 years decided to tell me he'd cleaned out our savings account. Surprise, darling. Remember that luxury resort in Bali we always dreamed of? Well, I'm heading there now with her. Oh, and I emptied our joint savings to pay for it. Have fun being broke. LOL. My name is Alina, and this is the story of how my husband's perfect escape turned into his perfect nightmare. I kept my voice steady as I wrapped up the conference call, discussing donation allocations with our biggest nonprofit partners. Yes, the third quarter projections look promising. I'll send over the updated spreadsheets this afternoon. My colleague Maria's voice crackled through the speaker. Everything okay, Alina? You sound a bit off. Never better, I replied, clicking my pen rhythmically against the desk, just processing some unexpected news. The truth was, I'd been processing for months. The first red flag appeared when Christian started coming home late, reeking of expensive perfume I'd never worn. Then came the business dinners that somehow never had receipts, the hushed phone calls in our garage, and finally the lipstick-stained cocktail napkin I found in his suit jacket. Last week he'd been especially attentive, bringing me coffee in bed, massaging my shoulders while I worked from home. Baby, I need you to sign these investment documents, he'd said, sliding papers across our kitchen island. Just some routine stuff for the new venture. I signed them all, watching his face carefully for that subtle twitch in his left eye, his tell when he was lying. It was there, clear as day. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my sister Kendall. Tell me you've seen it, she said without preamble. His grand announcement? Just got it. That smug bastard actually did it. I'm coming over. No need, I said, opening my laptop and clicking on a secure folder labeled Exit Plan V3.0. Everything's already in motion. What do you mean? I smiled, though no one was there to see it. Remember when Christian invested 50 grand with his cousin last year? The money that mysteriously vanished? Yeah, you were devastated. Wouldn't let me report him for fraud. Because I needed him to think I was still that trusting wife who'd sign anything he put in front of me. The wife who'd never check his hidden accounts or track his little rendezvous with Miss Instagram influencer. Kendall's breath caught. Alina, what did you do? My screen filled with transaction records and account numbers. Let's just say Christian's about to learn that karma isn't just a spiritual concept. Sometimes it's a carefully orchestrated series of financial transactions. Holy shit, Kendall whispered. You're not just going to let him get away with this? Oh no, I said, pulling up another window showing a resort booking confirmation. I'm going to let him walk right into it. He thinks he's won because he emptied our joint account. He has no idea that was exactly what I wanted him to do. My phone pinged with another message from Christian. BTW, Sela says hi. She's so much younger than you. Maybe try some anti-aging cream with all that free time you'll have now. I'm going to kill him, Kendall growled. No need for violence, I said, typing in my password to access the offshore account records I'd discovered months ago. Sometimes the best revenge is letting someone think they've won, right until the moment they realize they've lost everything. My computer chimed with an email notification from Reese, the lawyer Christian had screwed over last year in a shady deal. The subject line read, "Everything's ready." Kendall, I said, remember how Mom always told us to smile and stay quiet when men misbehaved? Don't remind me. Well, I've been smiling for months, but starting today, I'm done being quiet. I opened Reese's email and felt a wave of satisfaction wash over me. Everything was falling into place exactly as planned. Christian thought he was flying to paradise with his mistress, but he was actually heading straight into a trap I'd spent months setting. I have to go, I told Kendall. There's a few more pieces to move into place before their plane lands. You're scary when you're strategic, you know that? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. No, sister, I'm scary when I'm underestimated. As I hung up, another text from Christian arrived. Boarding now. Don't wait up, or do. Not like you have anywhere else to be. I opened my calendar and set a reminder for exactly 12 hours later. By then, Christian would understand exactly what happens when you mistake patience for weakness. The first solid proof of Christian's affair wasn't the late nights or the mysterious receipts. It was a single gold hoop earring I found wedged between our living room couch cushions 3 months ago. An earring I'd never owned, with a distinctive designer marking I'd later spot in sellers' Instagram photos. I was vacuuming when I found it, and I remember standing there holding that tiny piece of jewelry like it was a live grenade. The vacuum hummed in the background as my world shifted on its axis. That night, Christian came home late again. I was sitting in the kitchen, laptop open, pretending to work. "Another successful meeting?" I asked, keeping my voice light. "You know how it is, baby. These investors need constant attention." He kissed my cheek, and I caught a whiff of unfamiliar perfume. "You didn't wait up for dinner, did you?" "No, I ate earlier." I held up my coffee mug. "Just finishing some reports." He headed upstairs, and I opened my browser to the banking app. Sure enough, there was a charge from La Maison, an upscale French restaurant downtown. I'd never eaten there, but according to their Instagram, they had excellent mood lighting and private booths. The next morning, I called Kendall. "I need you to meet me for coffee, now." 20 minutes later, we sat in a corner booth at our favorite cafe, away from other customers. "Show me again," Kendall said, examining the photo on my phone, a screenshot from Sella's Instagram story showing her at La Maison wearing both gold hoop earrings. "She's not even trying to hide it," I said. "Look at the timestamp. Same night, same restaurant." "That arrogant piece of—" Kendall stopped herself, taking a deep breath. "What are you going to do?" "First, I need you to promise you won't confront him." "Why the hell not?" I leaned forward. "Because I'm done playing the role of the naive wife. Remember last year's investment with his cousin? The one that disappeared? Yeah, you should have reported his ass then." I did something else instead. I pulled out my tablet and opened a secure folder. I hired a private investigator to track the money. Turns out Christian has an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. He's been siphoning money there for years. Kendall's eyes widened. "Holy shit, Alina. It gets better. Last week he had me sign what he said were investment documents. They were actually papers giving him full access to our joint savings. He thought he was being clever." "And you just signed them? Are you crazy?" I smiled. "I signed them because I'd already moved most of our money to a new account in my name only. What he stole this morning was exactly what I wanted him to take." Just then, my phone buzzed with an email from Reese. I showed it to Kendall. "Who's Reese?" she asked. "A lawyer Christian screwed over last year. Turns out I'm not the only one he's betrayed. Reese has been helping me build a case." "A case for what?" "Financial fraud, for starters, but more importantly—" I pulled up another document. "Remember that luxury resort Christian's flying to? I made sure their fraud department got an anonymous tip about suspicious activity on his accounts." Kendall stared at me. "When did you become this devious?" "I learned from the best." I took a sip of my coffee. "Christian thinks he's won because he took what was in our joint account. But that account was bait. The real money, it's safe. And his offshore account? Let's just say it's about to have some issues with international banking regulations." My phone chimed with another text from Christian. "Just landed. Paradise awaits. Hope you're not too lonely in that big empty house." "I want to punch that emoji right off his phone," Kendall growled. "Violence isn't necessary," I said, checking my watch. "In about 6 hours, he's going to try to check into that resort, and that's when everything starts falling apart." "What do you mean?" "Let's just say the resort has some very strict policies about fraud, and Christian's about to trigger every red flag in their system." Kendall reached across the table and grabbed my hand. "Listen, I know I've given you grief over the years for being too passive, too willing to keep the peace, but this is absolutely beautiful." I squeezed her hand back. Sometimes the quiet ones are the most dangerous. We see everything, we remember everything, and when we finally move, we don't miss. My phone lit up with another email notification. This one was from the resort's manager, Joey, confirming everything was in place. "It's starting," I said, showing Kendall the message. "Want to stick around for the show?" She grinned. "Wouldn't miss it for the world." I opened my laptop and pulled up the resort security camera feed. Soon, very soon, Christian would learn that his perfect getaway was about to become his perfect nightmare. "Walk me through it again," Reese said, his voice crisp through my phone's speaker as I paced my home office. "I want to make sure every detail is perfect." I clicked through the documents on my screen. 3 months ago, I started moving small amounts from our joint account to my private one. Nothing suspicious, just enough to build a safety net. And Christian never noticed. He was too busy with Sella to check the statements. Besides, he thought I was still the same woman who believed his business dinner excuses. My laptop pinged with a notification. The resort's security feed showed Christian and Sella walking through the lobby, his arm around her waist. She was wearing a white sundress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. "They've arrived," I said. "Right on schedule." Reese chuckled. "Time to see if those stilettos can walk on quicksand." I'd met Reese for coffee 2 months ago after discovering his name in some old emails of Christian's. The story he told me about how Christian had sabotaged his career made my blood boil. "The thing about your husband," Reese had said, stirring his Americano, "is that he thinks he's the smartest person in every room. That's his weakness." We'd spent weeks planning this moment. Every detail had to be perfect. "Joey's in position," I said, watching the resort manager approach Christian at the check-in desk. "Here we go." Through the security feed, I could see Joey's professional smile as he typed on his computer. Even without audio, I could read his lips. "I'm sorry, sir, but there seems to be a problem with your payment." Christian's confident posture stiffened. He pulled out his wallet, probably reaching for another card. My phone buzzed with a text from Kendall. "Are you watching this?" "Front row seats," I replied. On screen, Joey was shaking his head apologetically. All of Christian's cards were being declined, a side effect of the fraud alert Reese had helped me file. "The best part," Reese said, "is that he can't even access his offshore account. The bank's compliance department is having a field day with those transactions you flagged." I watched Sella's face transform from confusion to anger. She pulled out her own phone, probably trying to book a different hotel, only to find her linked card, the one Christian had given her, was also declined. "Should we tell them about the reservation under your name?" Reese asked. "Not yet. Let them sweat a little more." On screen, Christian was becoming increasingly agitated. He stepped away from the desk, phone pressed to his ear, probably trying to reach his bank. "Good luck with that," I murmured. "Financial fraud investigations can take days to resolve." My phone lit up with Christian's face. Decline. Another text from Kendall. "He just tried calling me. Told him to go to hell." I smiled. Perfect. The security feed showed Sella storming off toward the bar, leaving Christian alone at the check-in desk. His perfectly tailored suit suddenly looked wrinkled and sad. "Ready for the coup de grace?" Reese asked. I took a deep breath. "Do it." Moments later, Joey's phone rang. He answered it, nodded, then approached Christian again. I could imagine the conversation. "Sir, I've just been informed that this suite is actually reserved for an Alina Santos. She's arriving later today. Would you like me to help you find alternative accommodations?" Christian's face went from red to white in seconds. He grabbed his phone again, probably to check his banking app. "How long before he realizes," I asked Reese, "that all his accounts are frozen pending investigation?" "Probably right about now." On screen, Christian stumbled backward, finding a lobby chair to collapse into. Sella was at the bar, gesturing animatedly to someone on her phone. My laptop pinged with an email from Joey. "Everything proceeding as planned. Ms. Santos, Your suite will be ready for your arrival. I forwarded it to Kendall, who immediately replied, You're my hero. Seriously. Another call from Christian. This time, I answered, Having trouble with your cards, darling? I kept my voice sweet. Alina, what did you do? Me? I'm just on my way to enjoy that luxury resort we always dreamed of. Though I hear the check-in process can be quite strict about fraud. You can't. Actually, I can, and I did. Say hi to Sella for me. Oh, and honey, those investment documents you had me sign last week, you might want to read the fine print. I hung up as Reese laughed. That was beautiful. On screen, Sella was now yelling at Christian in the lobby, her perfectly curated influencer image cracking under the weight of reality. Time to pack, I told Reese. My flight leaves in 3 hours. Give him hell, he said before hanging up. I watched the security feed one last time. Christian, the man who thought he'd orchestrated the perfect escape, was about to learn a valuable lesson about underestimating the quiet ones. My phone buzzed with a text from the airline. Your first-class upgrade has been confirmed. Perfect. My mother's house hadn't changed in 20 years. Same pristine white furniture, same carefully arranged flowers, same suffocating atmosphere of perfection. I stood on her doorstep wondering why I'd come. Kendall's words echoed in my head. You don't owe her an explanation. But here I was anyway. Evangeline opened the door, perfectly coiffed as always. Alina, what a surprise. Hello, Mother. She led me to her immaculate living room where nothing was ever out of place, including her emotions. I heard about Christian's indiscretion. Such a shame. Tea? No, thank you. I sat on the edge of the sofa, the same spot where I'd sat at 16, being lectured about maintaining appearances. I assume you've heard what happened at the resort. She poured herself a cup, her movements precise. It's all over social media. That girl, Sella, is it? She's been quite vocal, rather tasteless if you ask me. And what about what Christian did? Is that tasteless too? Darling, she sighed, men stray. It's how we handle it that defines us as women. The familiar rage bubbled up, the same one I'd felt watching her ignore my father's affairs years ago. Like you handled it with Dad? Her teacup clinked sharply against its saucer. We don't discuss your father. Of course not, just like we don't discuss how you taught us to smile through betrayal, to keep quiet when men hurt us. I taught you dignity. No, I stood up, my voice steady. You taught us shame. You taught us to value appearance over self-respect. My phone buzzed, another frantic message from Christian. I showed it to her. Please, baby, I'm sorry. I'll do anything. They're saying I might face fraud charges. You see? She gestured at the phone. He's suffering enough. Show some grace. I laughed, a sharp sound in the perfect room. Grace? Like when you told Kendall to be understanding when her college boyfriend cheated? Or when you said I should be grateful Christian married me despite my plain looks? I was trying to protect you both. No, you were teaching us to accept cruelty as love. The doorbell rang. Evangeline frowned. Are you expecting someone? That would be Kendall. My sister burst in without waiting for an invitation, her energy crackling through the sterile space. Thought I'd find you here. Mom, your garden looks dead. It's winter, Kendall. Everything looks dead. Not everything, Kendall dropped onto the sofa. Alina's looking pretty alive these days. Evangeline's lips tightened. Your sister is making a spectacle of herself. Actually, I pulled out my tablet, showing her the news article about Christian's company being investigated. I'm making him face consequences, something you never taught us about. This revenge, it's beneath you. No, Mother. What's beneath me is letting another man think he can treat me like garbage while I smile and serve tea. My phone rang. Reese. Sorry to interrupt, he said when I answered. But you need to see this. Christian just tried to access his emergency accounts. All frozen. He's completely cut off. I put the phone on speaker. Thank you, Reese. Anything else? Yeah, Sella's gone viral. She's doing a live stream about being deceived by a fraud. It's not flattering to Christian. Kendall grinned. Send me the link. After I hung up, Evangeline stood, smoothing her perfect skirt. What do you hope to achieve with all this drama? Justice, Kendall answered for me. Something this family's been afraid of for generations. I walked to the window, looking at the manicured garden. You know what I remember most about childhood, Mother? The silence. The way we all pretended everything was fine while Dad destroyed you piece by piece. I maintained my dignity. No, I turned to face her. You maintained your prison, and you tried to lock us in it too. Kendall joined me at the window, but we broke out. Evangeline's perfect composure cracked just slightly. You'll regret this public display, both of you. Maybe, I said, gathering my things, but I'd regret silence more. My phone buzzed again, a message from Joey at the resort. Your suite is ready, Ms. Santos. And yes, we made sure it's the one with the best view. Come on, Kendall tugged my arm. Your flight's in 2 hours. At the door, I turned back one last time. Mother, I love you, but I won't be you, not anymore. She stood in her perfect room, surrounded by her perfect things, looking suddenly small. What will people say? They'll say your daughter finally found her voice, Kendall answered. And it's loud as hell. Outside, the winter air felt clean and sharp. Kendall hugged me tight. You okay? I looked back at the house, at all the carefully maintained appearances, at the legacy of silence I was finally breaking. Actually, I smiled, I'm perfect. Through the resort's security feed on my laptop, I watched Christian pace the lobby like a caged animal. 6 hours had passed since his cards were declined, and his perfectly styled hair was now a disheveled mess. Sella sat at the bar, alternating between angry phone calls and furious typing on her phone. Ms. Santos! The flight attendant's voice pulled me back to reality. We're beginning our descent. Would you like another champagne? No, thank you. I closed my laptop and looked out the window at the paradise below. I think I'll save the celebration for later. My phone lit up with a message from Joey. They're still here. She's been live streaming for the past hour. Security is on standby. I typed back, don't remove them yet. I want to make an entrance. The plane landed smoothly, and as I walked through the terminal, another text came through, this time from Reese. His company's board just called an emergency meeting. Turns out they don't appreciate their CEO being accused of fraud on social media. Perfect. The resort's car service was waiting for me, a sleek black SUV with tinted windows. As we approached the property, I could see its pristine beaches and infinity pools sparkling in the sunset. Ma'am, the driver said, Mr. Anderson asked me to inform you that your husband is still in the lobby. I smiled. He's not my husband anymore, and that's exactly where I want him. The SUV pulled up to the entrance. Through the tinted windows, I could see Christian jump to his feet as Joey approached him again. Sella was still at the bar, her makeup slightly smeared from hours of crying and raging. Ready? I texted Kendall. Born ready. Give him hell. I stepped out of the car, smoothing my white linen dress. The tropical breeze caught my hair as Joey rushed to greet me. Ms. Santos, welcome to Paradise Bay Resort. His voice carried just enough for Christian to hear. Your suite is ready, and as requested, we've upgraded you to our premium ocean view. Christian's face went from red to pale in seconds. Alina, I turned, acting surprised. Oh, Christian, you're still here? How awkward. Sella spun around on her bar stool, nearly falling off. You bitch. You planned this. Actually, I smiled, handing my passport to Joey, I just planned a lovely vacation. You're the ones who crashed it. Christian stepped forward, his designer shirt wrinkled and damp with sweat. Baby, please, we can talk about this. Sir, Joey interrupted, I must remind you that you're no longer a guest here. Security is on their way. You can't do this, Christian hissed at me. I built everything we have. I laughed, the sound echoing through the marble lobby. No, you stole everything we had. I'm just better at the game. Sela stormed over, her heels clicking angrily. Do you know who I am? I have 500,000 followers. Yes, and they're all watching you melt down in a resort lobby because your sugar daddy's cards got declined. Quite the content strategy. Two security guards appeared, positioning themselves near Christian and Sela. This isn't over, Christian growled. I checked my phone, showing him the screen. Actually, it is. Your board just called an emergency meeting. Something about fraud allegations? Oh, and Reese says hi. His face crumpled as realization hit. Reese? You worked with Reese? Turns out I'm not the only one you underestimated. I turned to Joey. Is my suite ready? Of course, Ms. Santos, right this way. As we walked toward the elevator, Sela's voice rang out. You'll regret this. I'm going live right now to tell everyone what a vindictive— Please do, I interrupted, stepping into the elevator. My lawyers would love more evidence for the harassment case. The last thing I saw before the doors closed was Christian being escorted toward the exit, his perfect escape crumbling around him. In my suite, the one he'd promised to bring me to for years, I opened my laptop to find dozens of messages. Kendall had sent a string of celebratory emojis. Reese forwarded an email about the board meeting. Even my mother had texted, "This isn't what I meant by dignity." I walked to the balcony, watching the sun set over the ocean. Below, I could see Christian and Salah being escorted to a waiting taxi, their designer luggage wheeled behind them by security. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Christian. You've ruined everything. I typed back, No, darling. You did that all on your own. I just made sure you felt it. Then I ordered room service, drew a bath in the luxury tub, and prepared to enjoy every second of the vacation he'd always promised but never delivered. Sometimes karma needs a little help. And sometimes that help wears stilettos. The resort's cafe had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the beach, giving me a perfect view of the drama unfolding outside. Christian and Sela sat at a plastic table near the taxi stand, their designer luggage piled around them like fallen soldiers. They'd been there for 2 hours, arguing in increasingly loud whispers while other guests walked past, shooting them curious glances. My phone buzzed with Kendall's message. Tell me you're watching this train wreck. Front row seats, I replied, sipping my mimosa. Sela just went live again. I turned up the volume on my phone to hear Sela's latest Instagram story. I can't believe he lied to me. He said he was divorced, and now I'm stuck in paradise with no hotel, and his psycho wife is— Turn that off. Christian's voice carried through the window as he tried to grab her phone. Don't touch me, Sela shrieked, jumping up. You ruined everything. My followers trusted me to promote this resort. Joey appeared at my table, looking concerned. Ms. Santos, would you like me to have security remove them from the property? Not yet, I smiled. I'm rather enjoying the show. My phone rang. It was Reese. You need to see this, he said without preamble. Christian just tried to call an emergency board meeting to explain himself. It didn't go well. Define didn't go well. They voted to suspend him pending investigation. Turns out your evidence about the offshore accounts was very compelling. Outside, Sela was now pacing, her designer heels sinking into the sand. My agent is going to kill me. This was supposed to be a sponsored luxury getaway. Christian stood up, his face red. Baby, please just delete those posts. We can fix this. Fix this? She spun around, mascara streaking down her cheeks. My reputation is ruined. I trusted you. I couldn't help but laugh. Welcome to the club, sweetheart. My phone buzzed again, this time with a message from Christian's mother. What have you done to my son? I showed the message to Joey, who had stayed nearby. Funny how they always blame the wife, isn't it? Very funny, he agreed, then lowered his voice. Security says they've received noise complaints about their arguing. Should we give them 5 more minutes? I want to see how this plays out. Outside, Christian was now desperately dialing numbers on his phone. I watched as he called his mother, his voice carrying through the window. Mom, please, I need you to wire me some money. Just enough for a hotel. Even from here, I could hear her response. You're just like your father, always expecting someone else to clean up your mess. He tried Kendall next. My sister later told me she answered just to say, "Karma's a bitch, isn't it?" before hanging up. Selah had moved to a separate bench, still filming. And girls, let this be a lesson. Always check public records before dating a man. I can't believe I fell for his lies. Like and subscribe for the full story. She's actually turning this into content, I texted Kendall. Influencer's gonna influence, she replied. Christian made one last desperate attempt. He called Evangeline. I couldn't hear her exact words, but his face told the story. When he hung up, he looked utterly defeated. What did she say? Selah demanded. She said I deserved this. My mother finally speaking truth instead of maintaining appearances. Will wonders never cease? Joey returned to my table. Ms. Santos, I hate to interrupt, but we've received more complaints, and Miss Ortiz's latest live stream is rather unflattering to the resort. I nodded, finishing my mimosa. You're right. Time to end the show. 2 security guards approached Christian and Selah. Even through the thick windows, I could hear their protests. But where are we supposed to go? Selah wailed. There's a budget hotel in town, one guard suggested helpfully, about 30 minutes by taxi. I watched as they gathered their luggage, Selah still filming, Christian looking like a man watching his world burn. As they loaded into the taxi, my phone lit up with one final message from him. I'm sorry. Please. I'll do anything. I typed back. Anything? Try living with the consequences of your actions. I heard the budget hotel has great Wi-Fi, perfect for watching your life fall apart in real time. Then I blocked his number. Joey appeared with another mimosa. Compliments of the house, Ms. Santos. We don't usually enjoy drama, but sometimes karma needs an audience. He smiled. Exactly. I raised my glass to the departing taxi, watching it disappear into the distance. Somewhere in that vehicle, Christian was finally learning what it felt like to be the one left behind, and I had a front row seat to watch it all unfold. The resort spa smelled of lavender and victory. I lay on the massage table, finally allowing myself to relax as the therapist worked out 10 years of tension from my shoulders. Your phone's been buzzing, she mentioned softly. Would you like to check it? No need, I murmured. The world can wait. But when the massage ended, curiosity got the better of me. I wrapped myself in the plush robe and checked my notifications. Kendall had sent a series of links. Breaking, CEO suspended amid fraud allegations. Influencer exposes married boyfriend's double life. Paradise lost, inside the viral resort scandal. And then there were the voicemails. 6 from Christian, each more desperate than the last. I played the most recent one on speaker. Alina, please. His voice cracked. They're freezing all my accounts. The board, they're talking about pressing charges. I can't even afford a flight home. Baby, I know I messed up, but please, I need help. The spa attendant, who couldn't help overhearing, raised an eyebrow. Sounds like someone's having a bad day. The worst, I smiled, deleting the voicemail. Cucumber water? My phone rang again, Reese this time. You're supposed to be relaxing, he chided. I am, just catching up on the fallout. How bad is it? Remember when you said you wanted him to lose everything? Mission accomplished. The board's audit revealed years of financial misconduct. They're cooperating fully with authorities. I sipped my water. and Salah. Her latest video has 3 million views. She's rebranding herself as an advocate for women deceived by wealthy men. Pretty clever, actually. Speaking of clever, I said, thank you for everything. Hey, watching Christian fall was payment enough, though I hear the budget hotel he's staying at has a lovely view of the dumpsters. After hanging up, I headed to the infinity pool, the same one Christian had shown me in photos, promising to bring me here someday. The irony wasn't lost on me. Joey approached with a tablet. Ms. Santos, you might want to see this. It was security footage from the budget hotel. Christian and Sela were having another public argument in the lobby. She was waving her phone, showing him something on screen. Turn up the volume, I requested. Can't believe you lied about the divorce papers. Sela's voice crackled through the speakers. Do you know what this is doing to my brand? Baby, please, Christian begged. We can fix this. Once I get access to my accounts. Your accounts? She laughed hysterically. Your wife cleaned you out. God, I feel so stupid. I'm turning this whole thing into a documentary. My followers deserve to know the truth. She stormed off, leaving Christian alone in the lobby. He slumped into a chair, pulled out his phone, and dialed again. Another voicemail? Joey asked. I checked my phone. Sure enough. Alina, I understand now. What I did, how it felt. Please call me back. I'll sign whatever you want. Just make this stop. Should I block his number? Joey offered. No, I said, settling into a lounger by the pool. Let him keep calling. Sometimes healing comes from hearing someone break. My phone buzzed with a text from Kendall. Mom just called. She wants to know if you're coming to Sunday dinner when you're back. Tell her yes, I replied, but I'm done pretending everything's fine. Good, she texted back, because I already told her therapy is non-negotiable if she wants both her daughters in her life. I looked out over the ocean, watching the sun paint the water gold. A year ago, I was the perfect wife, swallowing my suspicions with practiced smiles. Now I was the woman who brought a man's empire down without throwing a single punch. Joey appeared with a sunset cocktail. Compliments of the staff. We've never had quite this much excitement. Sorry about that. Don't be. Miss Ortiz's videos have actually increased our bookings. Apparently everyone loves a good revenge story. My phone lit up with one final notification, an email from Reese. Board meeting concluded. Christian's officially out. The authorities want to talk to you when you're back. Don't worry, everything's documented. Enjoy paradise. You've earned it. I raised my glass to the setting sun, thinking about karma and consequences, about silence and strength. Somewhere in a budget hotel room, Christian was learning what it felt like to lose everything. But here I was in the paradise he'd promised, enjoying the view he'd never see. More cucumber water? The attendant asked. Yes, I smiled, and keep them coming. I plan to enjoy every second of this victory. The coffee shop where Kendall and I first plotted revenge now felt different, warmer somehow. We sat in our usual corner booth, but this time I wasn't hiding tears behind my cup. Have you seen Sela's documentary trailer? Kendall asked, sliding her phone across the table. I pressed play. Sela, perfectly lit and expertly made up, stared soulfully into the camera. I thought I found love with a wealthy CEO. Instead, I became part of his wife's masterclass in revenge. She's really milking this, I laughed. Can you blame her? She's got a book deal now. Scammed in Paradise, a cautionary tale. My phone buzzed. Reese calling with an update. The plea deal's final, he said. Christian's looking at 18 months, plus restitution. His lawyer tried arguing for house arrest, but apparently the judge follows Sela's Instagram. Karma's got a sense of humor, I said. After hanging up, Kendall leaned forward. Speaking of karma, are you ready for Sunday dinner? I took a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. The drive to our mother's house felt shorter than usual. Evangeline opened the door before we knocked, her perfect posture slightly less rigid than before. "Girls," she said, stepping aside, "I ordered takeout." Kendall and I exchanged shocked looks. Our mother, who'd never allowed anything less than a home-cooked meal, had ordered pizza. "Who are you and what have you done with our mother?" Kendall asked. "Sit," Evangeline said, gesturing to the living room. "We need to talk." The white furniture hadn't changed, but something else had. Maybe it was the way our mother's hands trembled slightly as she served paper plates. Paper plates. Or how she'd left her hair naturally grey instead of perfectly dyed. "I've been seeing someone," she said abruptly. "Mom." Kendall nearly choked on her pizza. "Like, dating?" "No." Evangeline smiled faintly. "A therapist. After everything that happened with Christian, I've been thinking about your father, about the examples I set." I set down my plate. "Mom, let me finish." She straightened a napkin that didn't need straightening. "I taught you both to swallow poison and call it grace. I was wrong." Kendall reached for my hand under the table. "When you exposed Christian," Evangeline continued, "I was horrified, not because of what you did, but because you had the courage I never found." My phone buzzed. Another news alert about Christian's case. I ignored it. "I'm not good at this," our mother admitted. "Feelings, truth. But I'm learning. And She paused, searching for words. "I'm proud of you both." "Even though I caused a scandal?" I asked. "Because you caused a scandal. Because you chose truth over appearances." Kendall wiped her eyes. "Okay. Who else is emotional over pizza and therapy talk?" The doorbell rang. We all jumped. "That would be Reese," I said. "I hope it's okay that I invited him." Evangeline smoothed her shirt. "Is he the lawyer who helped take down Christian?" "Among other things," she nodded. "Then he's welcome here." Reese entered carrying wine and case files. "Ladies," he smiled. "I come bearing gifts. The final paperwork from Christian's plea deal and a very nice Merlot." "Pour the wine first," Kendall demanded. "Then we can talk justice." As Reese distributed glasses, my phone lit up with one last text from Christian. "I report to prison tomorrow. I understand now what I destroyed. Not just money or marriage, but trust. I'm sorry." For the first time, I believed him. But belief wasn't forgiveness, and forgiveness wasn't what this story was about. "To karma," Reese raised his glass. "To truth," Evangeline added softly. "To burning it all down and building something better." Kendall grinned. I looked around the room, at my sister's fierce pride, my mother's tentative growth, Reese's quiet strength, and raised my own glass. "To us," I said, "the ones who stopped swallowing poison." Later, as we reviewed the case files showing every detail of Christian's downfall, I realized something. Revenge hadn't just exposed his lies, it had shattered our family's legacy of silence. In its place, we were building something new, a foundation of truth, messy and real, and absolutely perfect. My phone buzzed one final time. Selah posting another trailer clip. "Sometimes losing everything shows you what you never had." I smiled and turned off my phone. Selah could have the spotlight. I had something better. A family learning to speak, a mother learning to change, and a future unburdened by other people's lies. "More wine?" Reese offered. "Yes," I said. "We've got a lot more truth to tell."